Lesson 1.6, Parallel and Perpendicular Lines. Now we're going to come up with the equation of a line again with this lesson, but we're going to focus on certain types of lines. So as before, we would come up with the needed information to fill in y equals mx plus b. We're going to do the same thing here, but we're going to have unique situations that we're going to talk about. First of all, parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that do not intersect. And for that to be true, their slopes must be equal. We're going to need that information later. Perpendicular lines intersect, but they intersect in such a way that they create a right angle. And for that to be true, their slopes must be considered opposite reciprocals. Opposite meaning opposite signs. Now that means if you have a slope in one that's positive, then the slope in the other is negative. But also if you have a slope in one that's negative, the other is positive. So it's not just doesn't mean negative, it means opposite. And reciprocal means it is the to take it and flip it. Now what that means is, for example, the first one has a slope of 4. Well, 4 is also 4 over 1. So the reciprocal of 4 over 1 is 1/4. But again, we have opposite reciprocals when we have perpendicular lines. So it's not just 1/4, it also has to be the opposite sign. And that's why they have a negative there. All right, now we can write the equation of a line parallel or perpendicular to a given line if we know a point and an equation of a given line. Okay, so we're going to talk about what that means. So let's take a look at our first example. Now the example is specific and says that we want to write a slope-intercept form of an equation. So our final answer is going to look like this. Now we know that our line that we're trying to find goes through this point. Now in other problems in the past, they would give us the slope or they would give us another point. Now the line that we're trying to come up with is parallel to this equation or this line. Now again, as we said above, parallel means that slopes are the same. So we're going to focus on the slope of that line, and we're going to use it. So we have y equals 7/3 x plus b. And we're going to ignore everything else. We don't care about the y-intercept of that line. All we know is that when we have parallel lines, the slopes are the same. So in a sense, they've given us the slope. Now we need to find the y-intercept. And we're going to refer to a previous method that we used, and that is point slope. And this is the equation for point slope. And we're going to use that to find our equation. That's the most efficient way to do it with least chance of error. So we plug in what we know. Our y is a -5. Our slope is 7/3. And our x is a -3. And that means that we have y plus 5 minus a negative is equal to a plus 5. And we have 7/3 x plus 3. Now we're going to distribute that 7/3. And we're going to have y plus 5 equals 7/3 x plus, and this is like 3 over 1. I got my parenthesis there. So we multiply 7 times 3 and get 21. 3 times 1 is 3. Now we're yet to finish this. We have one more step, and that is to subtract 5 and subtract 5. So our final answer will be, I'll make a space here, so y equals 7/3 x. And 21 divided by 3 is 7. So this is really a 7 here. So 7 take away 5 is 2. So that is our equation. I'm going to stop here. So this is lesson 1.6, part 1.